on the zone. August 16th, Moses Atauma, the next heavyweight superstar, faces his greatest challenge, Dillian Whyte, back to remind the world he's not done yet. Atauma versus Whyte. Click the link in the description.
Saturday night, Atauma Whyte. But on that card, we have a fairly random, I think random is the best way I can describe this fight, that it just was like chucked together. It just seemed so out of left field. Filip Hrgovic versus David Adeleye. Two men who are very different career paths, to say the least. They both had outings in Saudi Arabia. They both lost in Saudi Arabia, both by knockout. So, and they both challenged for respective titles in Saudi Arabia as well. Obviously, his sole loss, David Adeleye, was to Fabio Wardley. Lost on the Fury Ngannou undercard, stopped in I think 7 or 8 rounds for the British title. It would transpire that this would end up being a world title fight because, given the fact that Usyk vacated only a couple of weeks later, the fact that Filip Hrgovic lost to Daniel Dubois again in the 8th round, and that was last year, and that was for a world title. So they both lost title fights in Saudi Arabia. Don't believe there's any title as such on the line. Pretty sure there isn't. No. Oh, there is actually a WBO International heavyweight title. There's an achievement right there. This is going to be fought over 10 rounds as opposed to 12. It's an interesting fight. I mean, David Adeleye is a weird one, right? Adeleye, if you watch David Adeleye fight a journeyman or someone who he's supposed to beat, he can look somewhat impressive, can't he? He's fast, he's got good athleticism, he's good shot selection, he's good left hook. He's trained by Adam Booth, and he's very much an Adam Booth style fighter. You know, he has the athletic ability, the attributes to make Adam Booth style work. Adam Booth likes athletic fighters. You can tell. He just has a way of working with them. Adeleye, whenever he stepped up, however, he's not looked as good. As I said, he lost to Fabio Wardley. I think they only gave him 1 round in that fight. I think I remember literally giving him the 2nd round and that was it. Maybe a bit of the 4th, but that was probably it. And he stepped up again against Jamie TKV last time, and quite frankly I didn't think he looked good against TKV. He was getting out jabbed. Jamie TKV came in much better shape, but still TKV is a domestic level fighter. So that if you're losing to guys at British level and then having to pull it out of the bag, it's not a good indication that you're not gonna transition well into world level, put it like that, for the most part. Obviously things change, people develop as a fighter, all that stuff, but it didn't give me much hope that Adeleye would, make the jump to world level anytime soon, but he is. Hrgovic, on the other hand, lost to Daniel Dubois. He fought a really silly fight. He was trying to blast Daniel Dubois out early, seemed to lack any respect for Dubois at all. Just thought it was going to be like taking candy from a baby. It wasn't. He got tired, threw a lot of punches. Dubois took over and took him out in 8 rounds. It's as simple as that. Now, since then, he's paired up with Abel Sanchez, training up in Big Bear Gym. Remember Triple G, Murat Gassiev, amongst others, Carlos Cuadras, used to train with Abel Sanchez. Joe Joyce actually trained with Abel Sanchez for a brief time. I thought he looked okay. Quite frankly, I did. I thought he looked okay under Abel Sanchez when he knocked out Joe Hanks. Pretty sure he was trained by Abel Sanchez for that fight. Last time out was an interesting one. Hrgovic won a fight over Joe Joyce. It was competitive, but he was the rightful winner, deserved winner. I was speaking to someone about that fight only today, that he was commenting that Hrgovic looked knackered from early on, but somehow was able to keep up that punch output. I don't think Hrgovic actually has a stamina issue. I think against Dubois it was just silly. Just really, really silly kamikaze style, and it just left nothing in reserve. I think Hrgovic is one of those guys where even when they look knackered, they still have plenty left in the tank. Dylan White's one of them. Dylan White, when he fought Chisora first time, he looked spent after a round. Man, the man was still throwing punches, swinging for the fences in round 12. So don't let that fool you. Hrgovic, though, I think with Hrgovic, one of the biggest problems he's had has been his ego. I think he's been arrogant. I think he's believed he's better than he actually is, and that he has the beating of so many of these guys. He probably thought that against Daniel Dubois. He probably thought it against Dempsey McKeon. That's why he looked so laboured. I get the impression maybe that's why. Against Joe Joyce, because he knew Joe Joyce beat him in the amateurs. He knew turn up for this fight, and that's the best we've seen Hrgovic look in a while. I'm saying that it's the best we've seen Joe Joyce look in a while. But, you can be asking questions about that. Like, well, why did Joe Joyce look so good against Hrgovic? Is it because Hrgovic just isn't that good? I think Hrgovic is still a top heavyweight on his day. And I think that he's all the tools to certainly give guys problems in the top 10 and pick up a version of a title once the belt becomes stagnated. Yeah, I think he can do that. David Adeleye, on the other hand, he has the athleticism. He looks, again, when he's fighting journeyman, like he's got, something about him. But every time he's stepped up, he's been found wanting. He's had that bully boy mentality, like against Fabio Wardley. And when that was taken away, crumbled pretty quick. Now, he didn't quit. No quit in him, but it crumbled pretty quick. I look at this fight and I see how Adeleye might be able to pull it off, but I don't think he will. I really don't think he will. I think David Adeleye, to be 100% brutally honest, I think Adeleye is going to get smashed to bits in here. All right, I think he's going to get absolutely annihilated, smashed to bits, and stopped. I don't think it's going to be like a devastating one-punch knockout like a Prime Wilder or anything like that. No. I think it's going to be systematically broken down, taken out, and I'd be very surprised if he gets even a smidge of a foothold in this fight. That's how one-sided I think this is going to be. I think that if you're someone, whenever you've made the jump up and you've struggled and you've not looked your best and this has happened, that's happened, to me that's just not a good indication that your style is going to transition to world level. I think he could be one of these on top fighters. He likes being the bully boy, he likes fighting the Solomon Akers of the world, maybe not the Camille Sakalovskis, but that type of fighter. And he can let his shots go, he can look devastating, powerful. But once you put him in there with someone who's going to fight back, and Hrgovic I don't think he's got a bully mentality, doesn't really, like someone like a Kovalev had more of that. But he's just very stoic in his demeanour and everything he does in the ring. I think he's going to go in there. Now, again, the only worry you'd have for Hrgovic is that he's going to look at someone like Adeleye and think, you fought on my undercard and you didn't look good. It's easy work. All right, well, Dempsey McKean was easy work for a Tauma. You didn't make it look easy. I think he's learned from that, and I think that now he's had, because you got to bear in mind as well, right? For the Joe Joyce fight, he only had like a month's preparation. I know a month is sufficient enough, especially for a heavyweight, but it's not ideal. If he'd known about it 2 months prior, it would have been better, because Dylan White was the original opponent. So I think he's going to go in there with David Adeleye. I think he's going to do a demolition job. And I think a lot of people would be saying, oh, maybe Filip Hrgovic can do something at world level after this fight. For me, I think that Adeleye, his career trajectory wasn't doing too bad. He was likely to get the TKV rematch because he was ordered to have the TKV rematch. He could then go on to European level. Frank Warren is great at manoeuvring his fighters. He's great at building a fighter along. He's brilliant at that. So I always kind of felt with Adeleye, when they took this fight, I was like, whoa, that's not Frank Warren-esque. I suspect it was Adeleye deciding, yeah, let's do it. I'm sure he's being well paid as well to have this fight, but I cannot see how Filip Hrgovic doesn't win this fight. I think he's going to absolutely beat the brakes off David Adeleye, I believe. Now, I could be wrong. People saying they think that Adeleye can hurt Filip Hrgovic. I doubt it. I know he's a big puncher, but if my man's taking shots off Daniel Dubois, off Joe Joyce, of Zhilei Zhang, and I know it says Hrgovic down in round 1 against Zhang. That wasn't a knockdown. Should never been called a knockdown. When he was hit with legit shots, no effect. Crazy. And this is Zhilei Zhang, who's like literally rendered guys unconscious with innocuous looking shots. Man, this guy has one of the best chins in the heavyweight division. Filip Hrgovic, he really does. He really truly does. But he is 33 years old now. He's never really taken a shellacking in there, but you would think that with wear and tear, the punch resistance will eventually wane. But saying that, you look at someone like Derek Chisora, he's still got a really good chin to this day, and he's been knocked out a couple of times now. So, let's wait and see. I suspect Hrgovic is going to win this fight, and he'll probably win it handily. That's what I'm thinking. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video as always, people. If you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Until next time, people. Peace.